Why are we still not showing up for ourselves? Isn't that the question of the day? In this episode, I am going to attempt to answer it for you and share ways that we can overcome it. You know that little voice in your head, the one that tells you you're not deserving of accomplishment or worthy of happiness? We've all experienced it. A lot of times it's unconscious, but oftentimes it's staring at us right in the face. Now, it doesn't seem like anyone would intentionally sabotage themselves, but we do it all the time. Self-sabotage, also known as behavioral dysregulation, can be conscious or unconscious depending on your level of awareness. It's rooted in counterproductive mindsets that affect us negatively, either physically, mentally, or emotionally. An example of conscious self-sabotage is deciding to eat ice cream when you've set a goal to eat healthy. I do this all the time.
That's so good.
Unconscious self-sabotage happens when we hinder our own success and well-being by undermining our core values and our goals, but we don't realize it. And then we blame other people for it. An example of unconscious self-sabotage is waiting until the last minute to work on an important project so that you can avoid the possibility of a promotion. Self-sabotage has a few dimensions to it. It can look like disorganization, negative self-talk, indecisiveness, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, and mindless distractions that prevent you from attaining your goals. You know the usual suspects: binge watching TV, scrolling through social media, surfing the internet, playing excessive video games. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And we can also see it in what are called avoiding behaviors. Common ones are chronic tardiness, giving up when things get tough, self-isolation, or lack of assertiveness. But it can also show up in destructive behaviors like overeating, excessive drinking, drug abuse, pornography, gambling, and overspending. So now that we know what it looks like, why do we do it? Well, the early origins of self-sabotage are actually rooted in emotional experiences, often from our childhood, that affect our self-perception and the world around us. Let's take a look at a goal. A goal has both positive and negative aspects, which creates competing forces. Setting goals releases dopamine, but there's also an avoidance dynamic that comes into play around perceived threats, including psychological and emotional ones. Self-sabotage happens when the desire to reduce threats exceeds the drive to reach goals. It's been described by some psychologists as a biological response to survival. We adopt behaviors that are initially considered adaptive for surviving. However, behaviors can become maladaptive when they continue long after the challenge has passed. And this is deeply rooted in what we have picked up as children: modeling. As children, we are highly impressionable, so self-sabotaging behaviors often come from childhood models and patterns, including maybe a parent who lacked confidence to succeed, or a caregiver who constantly warns a child at the playground to be careful, causing them to internalize the world as unsafe and exploration to be avoided. Essentially, many of us learned powerlessness. And then there's trauma. Now, trauma takes many forms, and as such, it's often a driving force behind our self-sabotaging behaviors. Attachment styles and patterns are formed early in childhood, and when caregivers either neglect or reject us, it can cause low self-esteem and other problematic self-image issues. This might cause us to sabotage our personal relationships in an effort to avoid vulnerability or abandonment. At the deepest levels, a child who's been violated by someone that they trust might look at the world as unsafe and view themselves as undeserving of good things in life, leading to self-sabotage as an adult. So how exactly do we combat this self-sabotage that plagues us? Well, everybody has a different threshold. So until your personal drive to achieve goals exceeds your desire to reduce threats, you'll keep repeating the pattern. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're human and you're actually perfect just the way you are. That can be really hard to wrap our heads around, but it's true. One of the most important parts of showing up for yourself is acknowledging your present state without judgment. So the first step is self-awareness. Acknowledge yourself. The ability to recognize our triggers and patterns is going to help jumpstart the introspection process. You can start right now by giving yourself full permission to be exactly where you are in this moment in time. And know that simply because you exist, you are whole and complete. Showing up for yourself is going to look different based on your personal goals and needs. And it's probably going to change over time, and that's okay. But whatever it looks like for you, it's important to keep in mind that the idea is to get into the practice of supporting yourself. It's about getting in touch with your own needs. That means honoring yourself while tuning out everyone else's expectations. Those people. It's about peeling back the layers of discomfort from whatever mistakes you might have made in the past so that you can see the lessons in them. It's about self-reflection and exploring deeper parts of yourself. It's about giving yourself another chance as many times as you need. It's about forgiving yourself as many times as you need. And it's about celebrating yourself while giving yourself space to grow and evolve. When you're ready to go deeper, there are all kinds of modalities out there that can help you on your journey to healing. Some of my personal favorites are journaling, spending time in nature, deep breathing, gentle stretching, meditating, listening to music, reading. Here's a crazy idea. Volunteer. You have no idea how valuable you are. Try to do the things that bring you joy in life. And if you can't bring yourself to do any of these things, then it's time to go even deeper and seek supportive people who have shared similar experiences. Talk to someone, whether it's a therapist, a coach, a family member, a neighbor. Shit, talk to a stranger. I do it all the time. People are like, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" And if that doesn't work, then it's time to go even deeper. Holistic and somatic therapies like EFT and EMDR are body-centered practices that can begin the process of releasing stored trauma in your body and give you the liberation that you've been seeking. It'll help to heal any shame that you've been carrying around since childhood and can release you from the painful cycles of self-sabotage. Look into it. I'll leave some helpful resources in the description for you. Learning to show up for yourself is one of the most profound personal practices you will ever experience. The bottom line is that there are ways to make a breakthrough and live a peaceful life. If you enjoyed this, I encourage you to share the love, like, and subscribe. You can find me at melissamontalvo.com, and I will see you on the next episode of You Drive.